Let's cut through the fluff right now. Women aren't these mystical, unknowable creatures that society often paints them to be. They're human, just like us, with predictable emotional triggers. And when you know how to pull those triggers in the right way, you can make her think about you nonstop. Now, before you get defensive and start muttering, "Wait, isn't this manipulation?" Let me be clear, this isn't about tricking, deceiving, or playing games. It's about understanding human psychology, basic truths of how attraction works, and using them to your advantage. Here's the real problem. Too many men act like desperate puppies. They overpraise, overinvest, overthink every move, hoping she'll magically notice and reward them with affection. But it doesn't work that way. Women are not wired to obsess over men who act like servants. Instead, they become obsessed with men who spark emotions, intrigue, desire, curiosity, even a little frustration. Emotions are the key. Here's the brutal truth. Most guys are too predictable. They put everything on the table up front. No mystery, no challenge, no spark. And then they sit there scratching their heads, wondering why she loses interest so quickly. If you want a woman to truly obsess over you, you have to flip the script. You have to stand out in a way that captures her attention and keeps her guessing. And in this video, I'm breaking down 7 powerful psychological tricks that align with how attraction naturally works. These aren't gimmicks, these aren't cheap pickup lines. These are timeless strategies that keep her thinking about you 24/7. So if you're tired of being overlooked or left behind, pay attention. Because these tricks won't just change how women see you, they'll completely transform how you see yourself as a man. Let's dive in. Be scarce, not clingy. Scarcity is one of the most powerful psychological tools in attraction. Think about it. People value what feels rare or hard to get. That's why limited edition sneakers, exclusive clubs, or one-of-a-kind items are always in demand. The same rule applies to you. When you make yourself too available, constantly texting, dropping everything to be with her, or orbiting around her life, you unintentionally lower your perceived value. Why? Because you're showing her that your time isn't valuable. And if you don't value it, why should she? Women, like anyone else, are naturally drawn to what feels exclusive. They don't obsess over what's common and predictable. They obsess over what feels rare. Here's the mistake most men make. They think constant availability equals showing interest. So they text her all day, agree to every plan she proposes, and basically broadcast that she's their number one priority. But instead of being flattered, she begins to take him for granted. Because when you're always there, where's the excitement? Where's the challenge? Now, being scarce doesn't mean you play childish games or purposely ignore her to make her chase you. It's not about being rude, it's about living a life that's already full of purpose, goals, and commitments outside of her. When she sees that your world doesn't revolve around her, that you're a man with mission and priorities, that's when she starts thinking, "Wow, he must be valuable. He must be someone worth investing in." It also applies to communication. If you're always the first to text and reply instantly, you're not giving her time to miss you. Let conversations breathe. Let her wonder what you're doing. That's when you become intriguing. Let me give you an example. Suppose she texts you on a Saturday afternoon. Instead of instantly dropping your phone to reply, you're out with friends at the gym or working on a project. You reply later, calmly, confidently. Suddenly she's thinking, what was he doing? Who was he with? That little spark of curiosity is gold. Now don't confuse scarcity with arrogance. The goal isn't to make her feel unimportant, it's to show her that you value yourself. When you respect your own time and carry yourself with purpose, she'll respect it too. And here's the kicker. When you finally do give her your attention, it feels special. It feels like she earned it. And that's when obsession begins to grow. So remember this. Being scarce isn't about neglect. It's about balance. Showing genuine interest without drowning her in attention. When you master this balance, women won't just be drawn to you. They won't be able to stop thinking about you. Stay mysterious. If you want a woman to become obsessed with you, here's a fact. Stop being an open book. Mystery is one of the most underrated yet powerful tools in attraction. It keeps her intrigued, guessing and hungry to know more about you. Think about it. What makes your favorite Netflix series so addictive? It's the cliffhangers, the unanswered questions, the feeling of, I have to know what happens next. That's what mystery does in attraction, but here's where men sabotage themselves. They overshare too quickly. You meet a woman, and within a couple of conversations, you've spilled your entire life story. Your struggles, your dreams, your past relationships, even your insecurities. Now, don't get me wrong. Openness and vulnerability are important in a relationship. But if you unload everything too soon, you remove all the excitement of discovery. If she already knows everything about you, what's left for her to be curious about? Mystery isn't about lying or hiding who you are. It's about pacing how much you reveal. Let her peel back your layers over time. For example, if she asks, "So, what did you do this weekend?" Instead of rattling off every detail, "I went here, I met this friend, I ate this, then I watched that," you could simply say, "It was great. Did some interesting stuff. You'll find out one day." Leave a little suspense. Let her ask follow-up questions. Let her chase more information. Another key to mystery is unpredictability. If she knows exactly when you'll text, what you'll say, and how you'll act, the excitement dies. Keep her on her toes. Maybe you don't send the usual good night text every evening. Maybe you plan something spontaneous instead of sticking to a safe routine. And mystery extends beyond conversation. It's in your lifestyle too. Have passions and projects that she doesn't fully understand yet. Be a man with layers, with depth. If you're always working on something new, whether it's a fitness goal, a creative project, or a business venture, it creates an aura of excitement around you. Even in your demeanor, be calm and composed. Don't rush to explain yourself every time there's silence or confusion. Let her sit with uncertainty sometimes. A man who doesn't over-explain comes across as self-assured and intriguing. Now, let's be clear. Mystery doesn't mean being distant or cold. It's about balance. Show interest, engage her, make her feel valued, but always leave her with the sense that there's more to you than she currently sees. Because here's the truth. Mystery creates obsession. When she feels there's always more to discover about you, her mind will keep coming back to you. And that's exactly where you want to be. Trigger emotions. If you want a woman to obsess over you, focus on this. It's not about what you say, it's about how you make her feel. Attraction is not logical, it's emotional. Women don't obsess over the guy who ticks every box on paper, the perfect resume, the perfect car, the perfect career. They obsess over the guy who can light up their emotions. Think about your favorite movie. Do you love it because of its technical perfection? Or do you love it because it made you feel, whether that was excitement, laughter, sadness, or inspiration? Same principle applies here. Most men try to impress women with facts, their job, their income, their accomplishments. While these things might earn respect, they don't create obsession. A woman won't lie awake at night thinking, "Wow, he has a great LinkedIn profile." But she will lie awake if her heart races when she's with you. So how do you trigger emotions? First, listen deeply. Not fake listening where you're just waiting for your turn to talk. Genuine curiosity. Ask her about her passions, her fears, her childhood stories. When she feels heard and understood, she connects those emotions to you. Second, create shared experiences. Don't just stick to boring coffee dates. Take her to try something new. An escape room, a hike, a cooking class, a random adventure. Novelty releases dopamine, the same chemical linked to attraction and excitement. When she feels that buzz with you, her brain associates you with pleasure. Third, use playfulness. A little teasing, inside jokes, light banter. It builds a bond that feels fun and natural. Humor lowers defenses and makes time with you addictive. Fourth, show emotional depth. Don't be afraid to share glimpses of your struggles, dreams, or challenges. Vulnerability done right creates intimacy, but balance it. Don't turn every conversation into therapy. Finally, add a touch of unpredictability. Surprise her with a thoughtful message when she least expects it. Switch up your routine. Make her wonder, what will he do next? That little uncertainty fuels excitement. Remember, obsession is born when she feels a roller coaster of emotions. Comfort, curiosity, laughter, excitement, even a bit of frustration. If you can make her laugh, keep her guessing, and also make her feel safe, you've got the perfect recipe. Because at the end of the day, women don't remember the guy who simply said the right things. They remember the guy who made them feel alive. Be unpredictable. Predictability is one of the fastest killers of attraction. When she knows exactly what you'll say, when you'll say it, and how you'll act, the excitement dies. And excitement is the oxygen of obsession. Now, let's be clear. Being unpredictable doesn't mean being unreliable or chaotic. It doesn't mean standing her up on dates or ignoring her for days. That's not attractive. That's toxic. What I'm talking about is positive unpredictability, the kind that sparks curiosity and makes her constantly wonder, what's he going to do next? Here's the trap most men fall into. They get into a routine. They text good morning every single day at the same time. They plan the same style of dates, dinner, movie, repeat. They give the same compliments over and over. And while consistency has its place in a relationship, too much of it too soon kills the spark. Comfort without excitement becomes boredom. So, how do you break free from predictability? Switch up your communication. Don't always send the same predictable texts. Instead of good night every evening, maybe one night you surprise her with a voice note or a funny meme. Or you wait, and the next morning you say, I was up late working on something. Remind me to tell you about it later. That subtle shift makes her curious. Change up your date ideas. If she expects dinner, switch it up with something fun, like mini golf, a hike, a paint and sip, or even a random road trip. When your time together feels fresh, she ties that sense of excitement to you. Mix your energy. If you're usually serious, surprise her by being playful and goofy. If you're usually laid back, surprise her by taking charge of a plan with confidence. Here's a quick example. Imagine she's used to you being the one who always initiates plans. One week, you don't. You focus on your goals, your gym, your work, and then she starts thinking, wait, why hasn't he called? What's he up to? That thought alone puts you on her mind. Unpredictability also applies emotionally. If you're always agreeing with her or bending to her opinions, you become boring. Once in a while, respectfully challenge her perspective. Let her see that you have your own backbone, your own values. But here's the golden rule: balance. Too much unpredictability creates insecurity. Too little creates boredom. The sweet spot is giving her enough stability that she feels safe, but enough surprise that she stays intrigued. Because the truth is, when she can't fully predict your next move, she'll keep thinking about you, again and again and again. Radiate confidence. Confidence is one of the most magnetic forces in attraction. In fact, if I had to strip everything else away, looks, money, status, the one thing that still makes women gravitate toward a man is confidence. But let's define this properly. Confidence isn't arrogance. It's not bragging about your achievements or trying to prove you're better than everyone else. True confidence is quiet, it's steady, it's self-assured, it's the calm energy of a man who knows his worth. Think about it. When a man walks into a room with good posture, steady eye contact, and a grounded presence, people notice. He doesn't need to say, "Look at me, I'm confident." His energy speaks louder than words. Too many men fall into the trap of changing themselves to fit what they think a woman wants. They laugh at jokes they don't find funny, agree with opinions they don't share, or bend over backward for approval. But that screams insecurity, and insecurity is the opposite of attraction. Confidence means owning who you are, your likes, dislikes, values, and goals, without apology. It means being comfortable in your own skin. Here's an example. You're on a date and the waitress brings the wrong order. An insecure guy might hesitate, afraid to make a scene. A confident man politely but firmly corrects the mistake. He doesn't need to get angry. He doesn't need to over-explain. He simply handles it with composure. That small action radiates leadership and self-respect. Confidence also means decisiveness. Women don't want endless, "I don't know, what do you want to do?" Indecision. They want a man who can take the lead. Instead of asking 10 times where she wants to eat, say, "I know a great spot you'll love. Let's go." That's attractive, but maybe the most powerful part of confidence is resilience. When you handle rejection or setbacks with grace, you show emotional maturity. If she's not interested, you don't crumble. You keep moving forward. That attitude says, "I know my worth." Not everyone's a match, and that's okay. And here's something most men overlook. Confidence doesn't come from women. It comes from your life, from pursuing your goals, from building your body, from leveling up your career, from doing things that matter to you. When you live with purpose, you naturally radiate confidence. And when you radiate confidence, women can't help but be drawn to you. Because deep down, every woman is looking for a man who knows who he is, where he's going, and doesn't need external validation to feel whole. That's what makes you magnetic. Mirror her desires. Here's something most men never think about. Women become deeply connected to the men who get them. Not just on the surface, but on a level where they feel like, "Wow, he understands me better than most people do." And the way you create that feeling is by mirroring her desires. Now, let me be crystal clear. This doesn't mean copying her. It doesn't mean pretending to love yoga if you don't, or faking interest in every single thing she likes. That comes across as needy and inauthentic. Mirroring her desires means paying attention to the things that light her up, and reflecting that back in a way that makes her feel seen and valued. Here's how you do it. Listen carefully. Most guys are so focused on impressing women that they forget to listen, but women drop subtle clues all the time about their goals, passions, values. If she mentions she's passionate about fitness, ask her about her favorite workouts. Share your own experiences. If she's into art, ask her about the last gallery she visited. Match her energy. If she's playful and bubbly, match that with humor and lightheartedness. If she's thoughtful and reserved, slow down and connect in a deeper, more reflective way. This creates an almost invisible bond. She feels, we're on the same wavelength. Mirror physically too, subtly matching her body language. Leaning forward when she does, keeping a relaxed posture if she's relaxed. Builds unconscious rapport. But it has to be natural. Forced mirroring feels fake. Support her ambitions. If she's working on a project or chasing a dream, show encouragement. Cheer her on. Celebrate her progress. When she feels that you're aligned with her growth, it creates a deeper emotional bond. But remember, this isn't about abandoning your own identity. You're not trying to be her twin. The magic is in finding overlaps. It's about blending your authenticity with her desires. When you do this right, she'll feel like you just get her. And that's one of the fastest ways to make her see you not as just another guy, but as someone special she can't stop thinking about. Be the prize. This is the final and most important psychological shift. Stop chasing women like they're the prize. Instead, position yourself as the prize. Now, let's be careful here. This isn't about arrogance or acting like you're above anyone. It's about carrying yourself with the quiet confidence that says, I bring value to the table. I'm a man worth investing in. Women are naturally drawn to men who have their lives together. Men who don't desperately seek validation. Men who are pursuing their purpose, living with passion, and holding themselves to high standards. Being the prize means building a life you're proud of, a life full of meaning and fulfillment. Whether it's advancing in your career, nurturing your hobbies, staying physically strong, or developing your mindset, you need to become the best version of yourself. Here's why this is so powerful. When you focus on becoming that man, you don't need to chase anyone. Your energy alone pulls people toward you. And here's another key part of being the prize. Standards. Too many men let women walk all over them because they're afraid of losing attention. But when you value yourself, you don't tolerate disrespect or flakiness. You set the tone. Think about it. When you stop bending over backward for approval and instead expect respect, something amazing happens. Women see you as someone rare, someone valuable, someone worth winning over. Let her invest in you just as much as you invest in her. Don't always be the one to initiate, to plan, to give. A relationship is mutual. When she feels like winning your attention is an achievement, she values it more. Because here's the truth. Women can sense authenticity. They know when a man truly values himself and when he's just pretending. And the man who genuinely values himself? That's the man they can't resist. That's the man they obsess over. Closing power message. Let me leave you with this. Women aren't obsessing over the men who bend over backward, who give away all their attention, who act like they have nothing else going on. They obsess over the men who respect themselves, who live with purpose, who spark emotion, mystery, and excitement. When you master these 7 psychological shifts, being scarce, staying mysterious, triggering emotions, being unpredictable, radiating confidence, mirroring her desires, and becoming the prize, you don't just change how women see you. You change how you see yourself. And when you become that kind of man, obsession isn't something you have to chase. It happens naturally. Now here's your move. If you found value in this video, don't just click away. Hit that subscribe button right now, smash the like, and drop a comment below telling me which of these 7 strategies hit you the hardest. And if you're serious about leveling up your mindset and becoming the kind of man women can't resist, share this video with a friend who needs to hear it.